And we are back here, Dooms and Advice Gaming, back with Dinosaurs once again because Dinos are such a good damn deck. It's been a year since I posted. Probably last video was Dinos. We're going to do Dinos again because Dinos have just been tearing it for me. They have been amazing. Let's go. So the title is not a lie. We did top 3 weeks in a row at my locals. It's a bit of smaller locals, but hey, still counts, still counts. Let's get into profile, and then I'll do a breakdown of my matchups, and we'll probably do a combo or two. Let's go. All right, so deck profile, let's get into it. First, for the big boys. So we play 2 UTC, we play 1 Dogran, and 1 Pink. This is a pretty decent ratio. You don't really need more than 2 UTC. Dogran is better going second, obviously, going first, and so is Pink, but they're in here because of another card that I'll show you here in a minute. All right, next, for the medium boys, we have 3 Oviraptor, we have 1 Misc, and 1 Giant Rex. So this searches any dinosaur you want, anything you need, you can add it to your hand. Usually it's Baby or Misc to get your opening combo started. Misc, you know Misc is broken. Everybody, have you read Misc, I guess is the real question. If you haven't read Misc, please read Misc, it's amazing. And then our Recursion, the guy who comes back whenever he's banished. So these are our medium boys. Then into the babies, we have 2 Archosaur, we have 3 Baby, and we have 1 Petit Pterodon. Now, some people may say that it's a little bit much to play 3 Baby, and you know, sometimes I do agree. So usually, if I'm going second, I will take 1 Baby out. But if we are able to go full combo at the beginning of turn 1, if we're going first, the 3rd Baby does come in a little bit handy to completely go off. Plus, we do want to see it turn 1 in our hand to be able to pop it with the Archosaur so it can go off. So basically, this adds us to pill. This special summons anything 4 or lower if it's destroyed by a card effect, and this special summons anything 4 or higher if it's destroyed by a card effect. So you can pop these with your big boy, Ultimate Conductor, or usually with Archosaur, or with some other cards that I'll show you here in a bit. So that's it for the babies. After the babies, we go into our first little package of the deck, the scraps. The scraps. So we play 1 Raptor, 1 Chimera, which luckily got reprinted here recently, and 1 Fridge. Now, Fridge is a brick, but it's a really good extender. So if you don't know what they do real quick, so this guy can destroy another dinosaur monster on your side of the field. So for that turn, you can have another normal summon. If he's destroyed, you get to add a non-tuner scrap monster to your hand, which is going to be this right here. So you can normal this, special this from grave. With our scrap Wyvern, on its effect, when you summon this back, it ends up summoning Fridge, which Fridge also lets you summon this from the graveyard. So basically, you get to special this guy out 3 times, or 2 times, which is really nice to go into your full combos. So it is not really absolutely necessary going second. A lot of times I do side these out because I go for more the OTK board, which is easier to make than all the negates board, which is what we tried to do turn 1. And again, I'll show you a little bit of that here after we're done. But yeah, so that's the first package. It's 1 scrap package. I used to run 2 of these because I was dumb. Definitely don't run 2 of these. And a lot of people actually do cut Golem, and I can definitely understand why. It's just, like I said, it's a higher ceiling. Plus, with one of the cards we play in here, it's not always completely dead in hand, though it does suck to draw, especially if you open this and Driver. It's the worst. Our next little package thing, if you will, is the Destiny Heroes and Scythe. So this is the materials for Phoenix Destroyer, Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, my bad, Phoenix Enforcer, and then you have the Scythe, which you can pop with Phoenix Enforcer or with Tornado Dragon if you set it off of Dagda. So going first, obviously this locks your opponent out of the extra deck. If you're going second, usually this gets sided out. So for my build of a deck, I'm usually trying to go first. Though, like I said, this is a very capable deck of going second. I prefer to build a negate, so that way my opponent doesn't go full board and I have to break the full board. I like to break a partial board if I can. So yeah, that's that package. After that, of course, is Triple Gamma and the Driver, which Driver tends to find its way to my hand way more than Misc or way more than any other one I run in this deck. It's crazy. But if you play Driver, you'd already know that. So with Gamma, whenever your opponent activates a monster effect while you control the monsters, you can negate and destroy it, then special this, and special the Driver. So pretty decent, stops your opponent from being able to interact with your Misc if you have Misc and this in hand. So you go Misc, send to graveyard. Since you don't have any monsters in the field, if they hand trap it, you negate it, destroy it. You get this on the field too, which lets you go into Omega so you can spin a card out of your opponent's hand. So it's a pretty decent hand trap, but only works when you don't have anything on field. So that's why it's not bad, definitely not bad going second, and going first, and insulates your Misc combos. And that's it for the monsters that we play. Now for the spells, we play 3 Lost World and 3 Fossil Day. These cards are amazing, absolutely necessary, never play any less than 3. This insulates a lot of your cards. Whenever you summon normal or special a dinosaur, your opponent gets a normal monster token, and this thing says your opponent cannot target monsters you control, so dinos or anything, unless they target a normal monster first, and because they have a token, well, you know, they can't target your stuff. So what's pretty good about this as well, there's a lot of decks now that are spawning tokens. You have Sword Soul, you also have the Brave stuff. So this, if they have the Brave token out, and you play Lost World, they cannot target your monsters because Lost World says no targeting, which is really nice. This lets you search any dinosaur monster to your hand that's, I believe, level 6 or lower, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Anyways, you always search your lower stuff with this, and we'll show you the combo with it later. So this gets you your Oviraptor, your Misc, or a baby, whatever you might need. Next is 2 Pill and 2 Small World. This is searchable with Archosaur. You basically banish a dino and a non-dino from your hand or graveyard. So that's really actually important from hand, because sometimes you have to search your Giant Rex to your hand with Fossil Dig to be able to banish it off of that, which is fine, still works. But yeah, you banished 1 dino, 1 non-dino from hand or graveyard, and special summon a level 7 or higher dinosaur from your deck, which is usually UTC, but you can use it to summon Dogran or Pankratops if you really need to, which I have done from time to time. And then the card lets you search anything you want, Small World. This card is crazy. This card is why your bricks aren't really as bad as you think. So basically, you banish one card from your hand and one monster from your hand and 1 monster from your deck. They only have 1 thing in common. So attack, attribute, level, defense, stuff like that, all that basically, type. Only 1 thing has to be in common. So usually you will send a dino from hand and a dino from deck. That's a different type, different attack, level, and everything. Then you get to add a dino to your hand that only has 1 thing in common with the second one you banish from the deck. It's a little confusing, but it does work, and that's why Dogran and Pank are not really that bad going first, because you can always banish them with Small World if you need to. And like I said, this searches anything, so you can search your Misc, you can search whatever you need to, you just need to be able to banish the right stuff. The only issue is a lot of times I do end up banishing UTC because I either already went into some things or UTC is what's in my hand. So that's kind of the only downside of it. That's why I might bump UTC to 3, just because I end up sending it a lot of times with Small World. But like I said, the other cards work as well depending on what you need. If you do not need Misc, you banish Dogran, because Dogran and Misc are both fire, so you cannot get Misc with Dogran. If you banish Dogran, you get whatever else you need. You get a baby or Oviraptor. Same thing for Pankratops. You cannot get baby with Pankratops because they're both Earth, but you can get Misc and you can get Oviraptor, which is really good. Now for the one-off spells, we play 3. We play Fusion Destiny, of course. Usually we use Verte to make this. I only have 1. Cards are 2 right now, but I only have 1, so we usually go with Verte combo for this. Called by, because this card is insane. We need to insulate ourselves if we can, and a 4th copy of Lost World, because Lost World is just that good. And the only trap we play in the deck is Infinite Impermanence, and I have 3. Unfortunately, not matching sets. I'm a budget player, if you will, mostly. If you don't count the DPE, most of my stuff in this deck is pretty cheap, so that's why I don't have like droplets or talents or whatever, unfortunately. But yeah, so we do run this in the deck. I've been thinking about maybe swapping it out for Ghost Ogre or something like that in the main deck, but I have that in the side for right now. For right now, this has been doing pretty good in the deck. Now for the extra, we do play a lot of rank 4s. I believe we play 5. And so we'll do them in 2. First off, we have Dolka and Logia. This thing is a monster negate that's not once per chain, and it only costs 1 material. So you make this with 2 dinosaur monsters, and in the same chain, you can negate 2 monster effects, which is crazy. This card is really amazing. This is what you want as your monster negate. If you already have Burrow Savage out, you make this. This thing negates any spell trap or a summon of a monster. So if you're afraid your opponent's going to summon something, or if they heavily reliant on spell traps, you make your Logia instead. But yeah, both these cards are really good in Dinos. They do require Dinosaur specifically, so you do have to watch which way you do your combos, obviously, because if you end up with Scrap Chimera, you can't make these. But that's why you need to get rid of this Chimera for another, for a Link 2 or another one of the rank 4s. So these two are pretty good going first. And technically, I guess so is Tornado Dragon. That's another pretty good going first rank 4. You can detach one card to pop a quick effect, pop a spell trap card on the field. So if you can't make your DPE for some reason, let's say if your Verte ends up getting negated, you can make this to pop your Scythe afterwards. So pretty good card. I guess that also gets rid of opponent's back row for whatever. Now for the going second rank 4s, we have Exciton Knight, which this card is pretty damn great. If your opponent controls more cards than you do in your hand on field total, you can detach one material, destroy every other card on the field. So anything you control and your opponent controls just destroys everything, which is pretty good. Which conveniently leaves you with one material on there, which means you can just slap a Zeus on top of it and just get rid of your opponent's board again. Now you can't deal any battle damage with this, but you can still attack directly for 0, which means you still attacked, so you can still slap a Zeus on top of it. Now we do have one more rank 4, which is Digaris, the Timeless. Most of the time you go into him in this deck going second to double the attack over UTC, so you can do double piercing damage with one of the links that we have that I'll show you in a second. So his draw 2 effect is also really good if you're really stuck and need more cards, but most of the time I just use his double attack effect. For the links, the only link 1 we run is Link Karibo. A lot of times this is necessary to get you a non-dino in the graveyard after you already made your Archosaur. Then for the 2s, so for the main combo, of course, we have the Scrap Wyvern, which is pretty good. It gets you 2 extra monsters on board, basically, if you can make it, which is really nice, so especially good for extension. If you're going second, or even better, if you have Lost World set up, this card is insane. So after everything resolves, you end up summoning your Scrap Golem from your deck, which is usually the target you want to special summon, unless you drawn into it like a dumbass, which happens, unfortunately. And then you have to summon your Chimera. Either way, after that resolves, you have to destroy a card on the field. And if you have Lost World up and you're going first, you can target a token, which then you can use Lost World's effect to destroy a dinosaur monster from your deck instead, so that way you pop a baby, extend some more, which is really nice. If you don't have that, usually there's an extra baby left over on board to pop it to special summon your Rex. The other 2 going first Link 2s are your Dagda and your DP, basically to Scythe Lock your opponent. You summon this, usually pretty early in the combo, and then you'll end up leaking it off for this after, which is kind of nice. So this thing gets you your Scythe, and this thing gets you your DP, which you want to activate this last, because Fusion Destiny doesn't really work like Red Eyes Fusion, where you can just summon your Red Eyes whenever with this, through this, because the restriction is part of the effect, not the cost of Fusion Destiny. You have to do this last to summon and Enforcer last, otherwise you can't special summon after. I've done that once and felt like an idiot, like, oh wait, I can't special summon more, I am so dumb. And then of course the last Link 2 we play is our Pentastag, which, like I said, works really well with our Digaris. So this thing will go ahead and pump our big dinosaur boy, actually let the big dinosaur boy do piercing damage, which he can attack everything. And then this thing, after you flip it everything face down, of course. And then this thing will double big dino's attack. So really all you need is 1-2 attacks and your opponent is just dead, obliterated. There's nothing left of them. So that's why these cards are pretty good together. So this card you really make it go in second, but like I said, this deck is comfortable going first or second. Then for our last link, we play a Nightmare Unicorn, because sometimes you will get stopped. It just happens, especially if you're going second. They'll be able to negate stuff. If you're able to get a Link 2 on the board, it gets negated. You go into this, pin something. So it's a pretty convenient card. I don't really see a reason to cut it. I don't often go into it, but it's good to have just for insurance purposes. Then of course our only fusion is Phoenix Enforcer. This card is great. It's amazing. Then for our last 2 monsters are our 2 level 8 synchros. Of course, Omega, usually we only make it if we make the Cyframe. If our opponent tries to negate something, we drop a Gamma. So you can just rip another card out of your hand, which is pretty decent. This thing we make with usually with Scrap Raptor and Rex, and then attach a Wyvern to it, so it has 2 negates, which is nice. So basically that's it for the main deck. Now the side deck probably could be a little bit better, but it's not that bad right now. We run 3 of the big rock because a lot of people still summon a lot. Then we run 3 Ghost Bell and 2 Ash. I don't know if this ratio is correct, but I like it at the moment, especially because this can interact with the Brave stuff quite decently. The Griffin, if you pop it with this, it can't return, so it can't negate. This thing stops a lot of things, especially the first card of the Brave Engine, the monster that searches. You can just Ash it. It doesn't matter. Ash is really versatile. It's really good. And like I said, you do have a lot of space in your main deck. Going second, you're siding out at least 4 to 5 cards. They're easy side outs, easy switches. After those, we have 2 Lancia. We can also set that with Dagda if we need to, but usually we use it as a hand trap if we draw it. Still a lot of decks to banish out there. Virtual World is still a thing, and so is Sword Soul. Eldritch as well, all of them like to banish, so this card is pretty damn good. And it also sucks when it hits us because we also like to banish, so great card, yeah. Then for Spell Trap removal, I should probably do something a little bit better, but for right now, I have 1 Duster, 1 Cyclone, and 1 Twin. Usually just side those 3, and if going against Eldritch or something that really relies on spell traps, but I think probably triple Cyclone might be a little bit better, or at least replacing the Twin Twister with the Cyclone. And then the last 2 cards, which I would play this at 3 if I had more, but unfortunately I have 2, is Evenly. I choose to play this over Dark Ruler because this is much better. It just sends everything. Anyways, guys, that is the deck profile, and right now I'm going to see if I can get you into the base combo of the deck. Alright, so for the last 3 weeks, our matchups were, the first week, it was the Arcana Knights, the Joker Knights, however you want to call them, the Kings, Queens, Jack Knight, and then 2 Phantom Knight players. We ended up killing all of them. It was great. It was awesome. Second week, we ended up actually taking 1 loss to Eldritch, but we still ended up topping because of the way the points ended up going. We ended up beating Virtual World's Sword Soul, which was an interesting combination, and we also ended up beating a Pendulum player. And then just this week, we got our Revenge on Eldritch. We beat 2 Eldritches, and we beat 1 Virtual World deck. Man, it was a ride. It's kind of crazy going undefeated, man. So, Dinos, like I said, they are really, really powerful. There's a lot of strong cards here, as I just said in the deck profile. And let's just go and get some combos before we leave for today. Okay, so this right here is full combo. There's also different ways to start it. For example, if you have Archosaur and Baby, you can still get almost all the way there, but this is probably the best opener you can have right here because it's just crazy. Or if you replace this with one of the cards this gets you, of course, but you have 3 of these, which is why it's really good. So first off, what you would do, obviously you want Misc first. So you would activate this, get Misc to your hand, and then you will go ahead and fire Misc. Then you would summon Oviraptor. With Oviraptor effect, you will add a Baby to your hand, which is going to be our hand right here. Then we will do Misc to banish itself, to summon a Dinosaur effect. It will pop the Baby in hand to add us a pill to hand, and with the Baby, we will summon a Baby. Then we will go ahead and fire the effect of Oviraptor. We will pop the Baby to special a Baby from the graveyard. Then Baby in graveyard will activate because it was popped. You will summon your Scrap Raptor. After this, you're going to go and activate Scrap Raptor, pop the Baby, so that way you can normal summon another Scrap monster this turn. And with Baby, we'll go ahead and get yet another Baby. So this is why I'm saying really 3 babies isn't that necessary. It's just that you like to open it up because this can be a pretty teardown right here, but it doesn't really matter. Then for security, for safety, you will go into your Linkaribo. Then you will use these 2 to go into the Scrap Wyvern. Scrap Wyvern will summon this and then pop it, and then you will go activate Chain 1, Chain 2. This will let you add a Scrap monster, and that will let you special a Scrap monster. So what you want to do here is add Scrap Chimera to your hand, and you want to special summon the Fridge. And then after this resolves, you have to pop a card on the field, which will be the Baby. So the Baby will die here, and you will get the Rex. Sorry, the zones are a little bit messed up, but it doesn't really matter at the moment. zones don't really matter for this one. For going second, zones do matter, but here not really. So from here on, you will use the fridge to special summon your Scrap Raptor back. Then from here, you will go into your Dagda. After this, you will go ahead and synchro these two into Savage. You will activate its effect to equip the Wyvern, and then you will chain the effect of Scythe to go ahead and set, Dagda to set a Scythe, which will set right here, doesn't matter. This will equip over here. Alright, at this point, you can go ahead and either Pill or Scrap Chimera. I think usually I like to Scrap Chimera here first though. So you will normal Scrap Chimera, activate its effect to special summon your Scrap Raptor again. So you already have your Spell Trap negate or Omni negate. And here we will go into 2 or overlay into our Dolka because we already have this as the Omni negate. After that, we can go 2 into Verte, so we can clear up some space, so we can have space to summon everything back that we need. After that, oops, I moved it over here. After that, we will activate our Pill from our hand. Banishing, we can go ahead and banish that. It doesn't really matter, but we have to banish Rex to summon the big boy from the deck. And of course, if you want Lightning Storm protection, you would put most of these in defense mode, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Rex will resolve, he will special. And then you will go ahead and activate the effect of Anaconda, sending your stuff to the graveyard for Enforcer. So this is full combo of my version of the deck. So you end on an Omni Negate, you end on a not once per... Oops, actually this is supposed to be a Dolka. My bad. My bad. There we go. Dolka. Better. Again, of course, depends on what you go up against. Logia might be better depending on what your matchup is. If you know your matchup, obviously you're going to know your matchup. Yeah, so you've got your Omni Negate, you've got your 2 monster negates, not once per chain. You've got this guy who can Bukamu and anything. And so you have the 2 things you can pop. You can pop this or pop that. It doesn't really matter. So this is why I said if you start off with the Archosaur combo, it's not the biggest deal. You'll just end on 1 less card. So usually you won't have this extra here again to pop it. You'll have to pop the Verte, which doesn't really matter. It's just having the extra option to pop this is fine. You can't summon anything else after DP anyways, so you can't really use it for a link play, but it's there for security to have an extra card. So this thing is a Book of Moon, like I said, and there you go. So this is the going first board, and it's pretty busted. And that's it. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the video, what you thought of the deck profile, any changes you would make and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll be back sooner than a year, but I don't know. My schedule, upload schedule is all over the place, so I don't expect it, but hopefully. Whenever that next time is, I'll see you. Bye-bye.